Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I feel so out of sorts right now. I feel like my shirt's not even on right. I've not filmed in 2.5 weeks. Today's the first day that my kids have gone back to school. I can breathe. We're back from Florida. The Christmas decorations are down. Like, I feel like things are starting to get back to normal and I'm finally able to film. So I did take a semi-break where I only posted one video last week, but I'm hoping to be back on schedule, so much so that I chose to sit down right when the garbage truck is about to come by my house. Every single time. We're just going to power through it because I have so much to talk about. So much. This is going to be my 2019 favorites video. I'm only going to talk about makeup in this video. I haven't decided whether I'm going to do a skincare one or not. Let me know if you would like to see that. I thought about a lot of different ways I could do this video. I tried to keep it to my top 19 of 2019, which was such a joke. Like, a joke. There was no way I could do that. I mean, I could do that, but there was no way I wanted to do that when I put pen to paper. I thought about, okay, what about the stuff that I really just used the most in 2019? Or I could talk about things that I purchased and loved the most in 2019. So I decided to do that. So all the things that I'm going to talk about today are things I discovered in the year 2019 that I absolutely loved. I am going to go kind of category by category because that's just the easiest way for me to make sure I have included everything. So let's go ahead and get started. For primers, thinking about all of my favorite primers, and I haven't done my top 5 video yet. I have talked about so many of them countless times, and really only 3 stood out as ones that I purchased in 2019. One of them was actually later, like November, and that is the Burberry, I don't even know, this Nude Radiance. I think it's called just the Luminous Base. But anyways, I've talked about how much I love Burberry packaging. It's my favorite. But it is just that. It's a nice luminous base. I prefer to use this one as a primer. The next two I'm going to talk about, I also like to mix with foundations, but I don't know. You could mix this with a foundation, but I prefer to use it solely as a primer. The next one, I also got it in November. This is the Glossier Future Dew Oil Serum Hybrid. So I was just very intrigued by this whole concept. I love a facial oil. If you don't know, it's probably my favorite skincare category ever. This kind of has like a peachier tone, but then when you rub it out, you know, it doesn't have anything but a really glossy finish, as you can see right there in the middle of my hand. This one I do enjoy using, mixing in with my foundations as well as a primer. I've used it both ways. The only way I haven't used it is as an actual highlight, like on the high points of your face, but it can definitely do that because you can see it. It's very highly reflective. Love that one. And then the other one I'm actually using as a primer today. I got this much earlier in the year, and this is the Glowbiotics Probiotic Skincare Hydra Glow Cream Oil. So this is technically a skincare product, and it's kind of in the same line as this, whereas they are somewhat of an oil hybrid. This one has a little pipette. Is that how you say it? Pipette? It's got a dropper, people. I am not that fancy. And it's more of like a pinky color when you first wipe it out. But again, just like all the rest, I mean, you can see, I like to have a glowy base. It just gives such a pretty glow to the skin. So this is also something you can mix in with your foundation. I've mixed it in with my moisturizers before because it is, like I said, a skincare product as well. But those are the 3 kind of primer base products that I have enjoyed the most that I discovered this year. I have 3 foundations to talk about, 2 of which I have done full reviews on. I don't think I've done a full review on this one. This is the Anastasia Beverly Hills Luminous Foundation. I love this. This came out in a period where every day a new foundation launched for like 3 weeks, I feel like. It was just foundation after foundation after foundation. And I was a little overwhelmed, even though foundation is my absolute favorite category of makeup. I was just overwhelmed. And I remember I tried probably 3 or 4 of the new ones that came out. And while I liked some of them, I didn't like some of them. This was the standout for that period of time. I have the color 315N and 240N. They both work for me right now. 315 is a little bit more warm. And I will say, in being for neutral, these still lean warm. So keep that in mind, but I do love that. I think I have at least, if you search my channel and just put this in there, the name of it, all the videos that I have it listed under will pop up so you can see how it looks on the face. The next two I'm going to talk about, I have separate reviews, and I've also mixed them today, and it's what I'm wearing on my face. This is the Tom Ford Flawless Glow Foundation. I know I've talked about this so much. I love it so much. I'm in the color 6.0 Natural. It is absolutely what it states. It is a flawless glow. End of story. That's what it is. It's more of a light coverage foundation. So I mixed it with another one of my favorites from this year, which is the Jane Iredale Beyond Matte Liquid Foundation. So this is a thicker foundation. It is, as it states, a matte finish. So when I mix the two, I got the look I wanted. Love it. In fact, today's the first day I've mixed these two, but I really enjoy mixing this with a lot of other foundations. I don't think I've ever mixed this one because I love it so much on its own, but together it gave me the look that I wanted today. Love both of these so much. I'm in the color M8 if I'm wearing this alone. This is in the color M4 because this is a little bit more of my summer shade, so I wanted to lighten it a bit, and that's why I chose to do that. I hope I'm not talking too fast for y'all, but I really don't want this to be a 45-minute video, so I apologize. I did miss something if we're going to go in order of how I do my face, because I do my brows first. I've talked about the brow products that I use a lot. I think the only one that I actually discovered this year was the Beautycounter brow gel. Brilliant brow gel, I think it's called. I'm in the color light. They also have clear, medium, and dark. I use the color light, which is that color right there. I like to use a tinted brow gel product at the very end of my makeup, really, after I'm done with everything, to kind of make sure that when I've done my foundation, no colors come off my brows, there's no sparse hairs or, you know, sparse areas where I don't have them filled in, and it just holds them in place all day. So that has been my favorite this year for brows. Let's talk about concealer. I have 4 concealers to talk about. One of which is a duo, and it's kind of cheating because one of those duos I did not discover in 2019. I will go ahead and talk about that right now, and you probably already know what it is. It is the Chanel Corrector de Chanel in 30 Beige and the YSL Touche Éclat Radiant Touch High Cover. I think is what this is called. Yeah, I think it's the high cover in number 3. I love these together. I do like them separate, but for some reason, because I love to mix things, I mixed them together one day, and I was just taken aback by how gorgeous the finish was. It did not crease on me. It was just so pretty. So I would say probably half of this year that I used this combination. I repurchased both of them this year. I had tried this many years ago and loved it. So this can't technically be called 2019, but this one can, and the combination definitely can. 2 other ones that I discovered this year and love. The most recent is the Jouer Essential High Coverage Liquid Concealer. I talked about this in a recent favorites video, probably my November one, maybe? Yes. And this is just amazing. This is everything I want in a concealer. It is a higher coverage. It says soft matte finish. It's definitely not luminous, but it's not flat matte. Like it doesn't make my under eyes look gross. This is in the color Toast. So that's it right there. Love this so much. And then another one that I know I talked about, pretty sure it was in my favorites video, but I don't talk about as much as I should, is the CoverGirl True Blend Undercover Concealer. So they sent me a package with a few of these colors in it, in combination with like their True Blend Matte Foundation and some other things. This was the standout for me. This is in the color M400 Warm Nude, and it is a warm color. But that's one of the reasons I love it. This is actually what I have on today because it does have such a high peach tone to it that it further corrects my under eyes. And that's what I need because I struggle from very dark under eyes, and it's just really good. It's one of my very favorite drugstore concealers, and I'm so glad that I discovered this year. It's a winner for sure. Now, speaking of those dark circles, I cannot go through this video without mentioning the Jane Iredale Concealer in Enlighten 1 as my corrector. I discovered this in March of this year, and it is still kicking. Like, it still has some around the edge, and I am still using this container. I do have a backup. I do use this in my kit. It's wonderful. Now, I know some of you have said, I tried it based on your recommendation. It's just too heavy. The thing with this, it is a cream concealer. I don't even know if I'm going to be able to like get enough out of here to swatch it. And the wonderful thing is it kind of blends into my skin. It's not near as peachy as it looks. I don't even know if you're going to be able to see it on camera because I can't see it on the viewfinder. But blending into the skin while still color correcting is why I love it so much. You need the smallest amount. Smallest amount. I put it on a concealer brush. I tap it under my eyes and it does the job of correcting. I've tried many other correctors this year. I've tried many other correctors in the past. It is not hard for me to say that this is my absolute favorite. So I had to mention that because I discovered it in March of this year. Let's talk about powders. I only have two that I'm going to talk about. I've talked about them in favorites before, so I'm not going to stay long. The one I have on my face today is the Too Faced Primed and Poreless Skin Smoothing Pressed Powder. I saw this, I mean, obviously I've known about it, but I think the reason I bought it is because Lisa J did like an Instagram post about it. And I was like, you know what? I've been wanting to try that. And so I did. And you can tell how much I love it. Again, it's what I have on today. It's one of my favorite powders to wear with the Tom Ford Glow Foundation. But honestly, it's one of my favorite powders to wear with everything because it is just what it says. It is a setting powder that leaves you looking poreless. There is no other special tips and tricks with it. It is a powder. It is going to work with every foundation. It does work with every foundation, and that's why I love it. That's why I travel with it, because I know no matter what foundations I pack, it's going to work with it. Love this. Again, that's what I have on today. And then this being a newer love of mine, the Jouer Soft Focus Hydrate and Set Powder. I believe I got this in maybe the October, beginning of November. I got it in the Sephora VIB sale. So I guess it was the beginning of November. You can hardly see the imprint on it anymore. I use this so much. It is such a gorgeous powder. This is in the color Light. And it does have, I mean, it does have a little bit of a tint, but it's not enough to worry about it, in my opinion, altering the color of your foundation or anything like that. It is a soft focus powder. It does not look like powder on your skin at all. At all. It just sets and perfects. I don't know what else to say about it. That's what it does. I love it. What do I do next? What do I do next? Bronzer. I have two bronzers I'm going to talk about. It wasn't easy to pick out the bronzers because bronzers next to foundation are my favorite category of makeup. And I feel like I buy them constantly. So I did have many new bronzers that I tried in 2019. I do want to give a special mention to the Tom Ford Soleil Glow Foundation. Soleil Glow Bronzer. I love that one in Gold Dust. I don't think it's as easily available, so I didn't want to feature it as one of my absolute favorites, but I would be remiss to not mention it a little bit. The two that I picked are this one, the Illuminating Compact from Amore Pacific. I know I've talked about it a ton. This is what it looks like. It has kind of three sections to it. I don't tend to stick to this section because it does have a little bit of a glitter effect to it, but I cannot believe I have not hit pan in this first 2/3 of the compact. I use this all the time. Even though it looks light, I can use it in the summer and it's still beautiful. There is only one color in this. That is a downside. So if you are like a lot darker than me, this is not going to work for you. Unfortunately, I think Amore Pacific is a Korean brand. I may be speaking wrong, but they tend to not have the best color ranges in their products. But if you are my skin tone or lighter, you will love this. It does come with a brush that I keep in there, but I don't use that brush. Love this so much. And then the other one is, I did a video on this comparing it to the loose counterpart, but I don't talk about it as much as I should. I'm actually wearing it today, and it's the Bare Minerals Endless Summer Bronzer in Warmth, the pressed version. So again, it's what I have on today. I have the faux tan as well, and I like it, but I just like the warmth more because I am a person who tends to go for bronzers that have more of a warm undertone. That's just my preference. This is a very user-friendly bronzer because it has absolutely no kick up. It's very easy to build up, and sheer out. You're not gonna like have way too much pigment when you first put it on. I am very notorious for having way too heavy a hand with my powder products on my face, and I never have an issue with this. So that's the color Warmth. And then let me see if I can swatch the Amore one for you. The Amore one does have more of like a sheen to it, and that's right here. One of those ones that like you can't really describe the gorgeousness of it until you actually put it on your skin. But I'm so happy I discovered both of these this year, so I had to talk about those for my favorite bronzers. I do highlights next, so let's go ahead and go into that. I only have two. One of them is also from Bare Minerals, and I wanted to talk about this because yes, it is one of my favorites, but it's so different. I don't have anything else like this in my collection, and this could technically be a highlighting blush for me as well, but it works for both ways. I have both the highlighters on today that I'm going to talk about, but I started with this. This is the Endless Glow Highlighter in Joy. So it is just a very peachy highlighter. And again, when I first saw this, I'm like, holy cow, like that is not going to be a highlighter on me. And when you swatch it heavy like this, it still looks like it's going to be too dark. But when I use, sorry, I had to get a makeup wipe, like my A23 brush, which I use for highlight, and put it on its side and kind of start a little bit lower on the cheekbone where I would put my blush, and then use it as like a blush slash highlight, it just gives such a gorgeous sheen and color to the cheeks without looking like I have a stripe of too dark highlight on my skin. I can wear this by itself easily as a highlight, but today I put it on and then topped it just a little bit on the highest point of my cheek with the next highlight I'm going to talk about. I also have this in Free, which is the gold color, also incredibly gorgeous. I just recommend these highlighters in general, but I would have to say this is my favorite because of how different and unique it is. And then y'all probably are going to know the RMS Beauty Luminizing Powder in Grand Dame. Holy cow, favorite highlight ever. Like, I'm putting it out there. It is my favorite highlight ever. It is going to be in my top #1 spot whenever I do my top 5 highlights. It's absolutely gorgeous. Very soft powder. Swatching it does not do it justice. In fact, it doesn't seem as highlighty as it can be on the face. Like, it can be very intense, but you can also sheer it out to where it's very gorgeous. I have the peach one of this, and typically peach is my favorite color in highlighters, but it's not my favorite in this. Like, I don't like it as much as I like the Grand Dame. It is just such a gorgeous highlight. So I put that just right on the high point of my cheek on top of the Bare Minerals one. Oh, I love this so much. So those are definitely my top 2 favorite highlights that I discovered this year. I do have quite a few blushes to talk about. So let's go ahead and get into that. It's going to be a long video. I'm so sorry. I should say sorry, not sorry, because I'm really not. I fell in love with cream blush this year. I just fell in love with it. And the 2 favorite cream blush kind of formulas are from Ilia, the Color Haze Multi Matte Pigments, and then Kjaer Weis cream blushes. Kjaer Weis is a very expensive brand. I think these cream blushes are like $56. And before anybody's like, oh my goodness, I would never buy that, they do sell the pans separate from the packaging. So if you did not want to buy this gorgeous, very heavy packaging, you can just buy the pans. I think they're like $30. It's still an investment for a blush, but I have spent more. Let's just say that. Kjaer Weis is an organic brand. They consider themselves luxury in the green space of cosmetics. This is probably my favorite of the 2 that I have from her, and it's called Sun Touched. Very, very pretty. I actually got my makeup done by Kirsten Kjaer Weis. She came to a boutique here in Nashville, and I went to get my makeup done. And this is the blush that she used on me, and I had to buy it. And I love it so much. And then I also have, if I want like a pinkier look, I have Reverence, which is also gorgeous. It's a very blue-based, cool tone pink color. So that is Reverence. Neither one of them are shimmery per se, but being a cream, they're gonna leave your face looking luminous as a result. Now, these Ilia Multi Matte Pigments are obviously more matte. So even though they're cream, they are going to give a little bit more of a matte texture. However, I feel like they're more matte on the lips than they are anywhere else. When I use these on my cheeks, I don't feel like they're that matte. I have the colors Waking Up. I have used both of these in videos before, so if you search my channel with the names of them, it will pop up. But this is Waking Up. This is a true nude color to me. It's very neutral. It's not too warm. It's not too cool. It is just a nice nude beigey color. And then this one is probably my favorite. This is called Temptation. And this is a bright corally pink color, and it is so pretty. I used this one in my Full Face of Ilya video, and oh, it's gorgeous. So those are definitely my top favorite cream blush discoveries this year. I used them way more than I thought I ever would use a cream blush. And I have two powder blushes, and they're both more of like a neutral blush. The first one is from Chanel, and it is Tweed Beige. This is hands down, I was about to say it's my favorite Chanel blush. Elegance is so close, but I still think I would have to pick this one. It is just such a gorgeous neutral bronzer. I said bronzer because it's like a bronzy color. I love to wear this in the summer especially because it does have that bronze color and it blends in with your bronzer. It gives you such a like golden glow. So pretty. It did have an overspray on it, which you can still see a little bit on the edges, but really that goes away, but it still leaves like a sheen. When you swatch it, a little bit of the peach marbling comes through, so you can see that right there. Oh, I love this blush so much. So much. Another one that I bought, I don't remember, whenever it launched, so probably mid-year, and I used it and I put it away, and then I picked it back up for one of my Shop My Stash videos, and I fell so in love with it again. And I've been using it a lot lately, even on my eyes. This is the Bare Minerals Bounce and Blur Blush in Blurred Buff. So again, very neutral blush. It almost looks like a bronzer, but it's their kind of bouncy formula. So it feels like a cream, but it applies and blends like a powder. You can see how pretty. This is actually the blush that I have on today. And it's so pretty. I posted a picture on Saturday of my makeup look for the day, and I was loving it. I've been wearing it a lot lately, and I actually use this on the eyes as well as on the cheeks. And it just works great no matter how I use it. But those are my two favorite powder blushes. And I think anybody will love them because they are so neutral in tone. All right, let's get to a little bit of eyes. I have 3 palettes that I want to talk about, but I first have to talk about my favorite kind of cream liquid eyeshadow. I love cream and liquid eyeshadows. I love stick eyeshadows. I use them as a base all the time. I use them by themselves all the time. If I had to pick the one that I use more than anything, it would be Laura Mercier Copper in the Caviar Sticks. I've repurchased that twice, but I've had that for years. So I couldn't put that in this video if I was sticking to 2019. So I had to talk about, again, the Kosas 10-second liquid eyeshadows. I know I've talked about them so much. These are the 3 colors that I have on my eyes today. I have this color Element, and that's all I have on my lid. That's all I have. And when they say 10-second eyeshadow, they mean 10-second eyeshadow. You swipe it on with a little doe foot, you buff it into the crease, and you are done. This is the most stunning warm tone terracotta brown matte color ever. I love, when I first used all of these, I was like, oh my goodness, but I used this on film, I think on my other channel, and I was literally taken aback, as dramatic and ridiculous as that sounds. Another one that I was taken aback with is this color in Fahrenheit. If you love a good purple, that is so pretty. And this one in Globe, I use a lot as a base for some of my shimmery eyeshadows, especially more of the gold colors. So, oh my goodness. These are just phenomenal. Kosas is a clean brand. You can get them at Sephora. They are a bi-phase, so you need to make sure you shake them up really well. The pigment does settle down to the bottom of the container. But, I mean, I would shake these up for 5 minutes if I had to. They're that good. Love them so much. Now, let's talk real quick about the palettes that I'm going to talk about. My first got in May of this year. I'm sorry I'm moving around so much, y'all. I just really cannot get comfortable. It's been so long since I've sat in this seat. This is the Tom Ford Eye Color Quad in Body Heat. This was one of the new summer quad releases. Spring, summer. I got it in May. I got the kind of goldish one too. They launched a couple more with this, but this is by far my favorite. This is all the wet dry formula. You can use them both. They are really gorgeous. Used wet as well. But these are the shades in the quad. I'm not going to be able to swatch all the palettes, but since this is just a quad, I will go ahead and swatch it for you. The two darker colors do look very similar, but they like swatched, but they do perform differently on the eyes. So that is that. Definitely my favorite of that particular launch, and up there in my like top 3 favorite Tom Ford quads. Like, I love that so much. This is the other palette that I have on my eyes, and I just used a little bit in the crease after I put that element shadow, and it's the Viseart Neutral Mattes Malou. Talked about this a lot too. I got this in September this year, and it is kind of the sister to the original Neutral Mattes, which has been a staple in my kit for years. I love Viseart shadows. This is no different than any of the other Viseart shadows that I've fallen in love with. They are absolutely gorgeous. I mixed this color and this color in my crease today, and they just blend out so gorgeously. I think the only shadow that I haven't used from this is that blue, just because I typically don't go for blue eyeshadows, but all the rest of them I've used a lot and absolutely love. So if you want a staple neutral, I mean, even though these are kind of a little bit more warm, if I'm going to be honest, but just a staple matte palette, and don't want to invest more than like $150, $160, and that's all you want to spend on matte shadows ever, I would suggest this one and the Neutral Mattes one, and you'll be set. Love so much. And then of course I'm going to talk about this one because I think I have done 3 videos using it, and it's the Charlotte Tilbury Eyes to Hypnotize. Love this so much. I loved the one that she released last year, but I love this one even more. So I've done videos using the first 3 trios. I don't use the last trio as much, although I have used the black as a liner. But this is just gorgeous. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. You can get so many looks out of it. It's very user-friendly. It's very appropriate for a beginner because she basically like spells it out for you. She tells you use the first one in the trio as a prime, the second one to enhance, and the third one to smoke out. It's just, it's easy. It's no questions asked, but if you aren't a beginner and you like to play a little bit more, you can definitely mix up the colors in the trios and make really gorgeous looks that way as well. So I had to talk about this one because I do believe you can still get it, and it truly was such a favorite of mine. I got it in September, and I have barely put it down since. We are almost done. I'm going to talk about a few lip products and then 2 kind of random mentions. The lip combination that I have on my face today, this is like a December favorite really because I just got it in December, but it is the tinted lip conditioner from Ilia in the color Nobody's Baby. That's what I have on underneath the gloss that I'm going to talk about, but this is basically what it says it is. It is a tinted lip balm, but that color is just so pretty. It's very, very moisturizing. Like very moisturizing. Such a pretty color if you like a warmer kind of nude. And then I topped it with this Lila B Be Elegant. This is the lip oil. So I also brought the other one that I have in Be Romantic up for my purse because I bought this one to try, and then Lila B sent me this one, and I love them so much. I do think they have another color. I'm not quite sure what that color is, like what kind of color it is, but it has a very kind of chunky doe foot applicator, and it is what it says it is. It is a tinted lip oil. So this is the color Be Elegant, and that's what I have on top of Nobody's Baby. And then this one in Be Romantic is a very light milky pink, which is, y'all know, right up my alley, which is why I have it in my purse, because it's one that I take out a lot when my lips are feeling chapped, but I want a little bit of a color to them as well. So that is in Be Romantic. Really have enjoyed these. I think they are definitely something to check out because they are a little bit different. And then finally, another favorite lipstick that I purchased this year was from Lipstick Queen, and this is in the color Truth or Bear. And it is my just signature pinky nude color. I know everybody's like, wear some color on your lips. And I'm like, no. I like my nude lips. And this is just just a perfect pinky nude for me. So I love it so much. Now, 2 honorable mentions that I have to talk about, and then we'll be done with this exhaustingly long video. I'm so sorry. Is the sponge that I discovered this year, and it's obviously dirty because I just used it, but it is the e.l.f. beauty sponge. I think they have quite a few different sponges. This one is obviously the big dark pink one. I love this sponge so much. I love it more than the Real Techniques. I love it more than the Beauty Blender. It is just phenomenal at both foundation and concealer and anything else you need to blend out with a sponge, and it's $5. I had to mention this because I know I've talked about it before, probably in a favorites, but I'm telling you, I don't think I'll ever go back to another sponge. It's so good. And then finally, I know that I've talked about this before, and this might technically not be something that should be included in 2019 because I know I discovered it before this past year, but I really started using it this past year. And it's the Color Science Sunforgettable Broad Spectrum SPF 50 Brush On Sunscreen. So this is a mini one. I probably have 5 of these altogether strewn around my house, in my purse, in my car. I use them so very much. This is actually one of the new ones that I have not used yet, so you can't see the product in the actual brush. But what it is, the product is down here, and it comes through on this brush. So once you start activating it, it will start coming through. So you can see it starting to coming through right here. And it is just a gorgeous touch-up powder. I use this so much in the summer, but again, you can see the powder kind of dusting off of it. I always have one of these in my purse. I have one on my vanity. I have one on my vanity in my room downstairs. Like, there is one with me at all times, because if I am out and about and I'm in the sun a little bit longer than I intended to be, and I have my makeup on and I don't really feel confident that the SPF that I put on that morning is still doing its biggest job, I will brush this all over my face. It never messes up my makeup, ever, ever. And it gives this just glorious sheen to the face while also adding a little bit of sun protection. I would not like put this on in the morning over makeup and call it your only SPF. I'm not saying to do that, but if you need a touch up and it will make you feel better that you're getting that added bit of protection on top of your makeup, this is the way to go. So I had to talk about that because I truly have them everywhere and love them so much. That is it. Oh my goodness, this is probably still going to be a 45-minute video. Sorry again, not sorry, because these truly are my favorites for the year of 2019. I hope that this was not too redundant, that maybe you learned about something new, and that you enjoyed it. So thank y'all so much for watching. Be sure and like and subscribe before you leave so you don't miss out on any future videos. And as always, I hope y'all all go out and have a very blessed day.